Welcome to the Global Wellness HQ family of podcasts. We are your international headquarters for resources and ideas and insight in relation to the 9 elements of holistic wellness. Join us as we interview local and international wellness experts and learn how you can implement and improve one element or dimension of wellness at a time. Our experts will share their practical tips on wellness in one of these core areas: emotional, intellectual, occupational, physical, environmental, financial, spiritual, social, or habitual. We created our family of podcasts as a resource for anyone who is looking to integrate the 9 elements of holistic wellness into their daily lives. Welcome to the show.
Everyone, welcome back to the Global Wellness HQ podcast. I'm on a streak. We're going to reach our 100th episode next, very shortly. I wanted to thank you all for joining me on this journey. It's been amazing. I can't wait for the next season and the next 100 episodes. Today, I wanted to talk about the concept of a workbook or a journal. And you can decide on what you need. But one of the things, a couple episodes ago, we talked about the client journey and client onboarding. A good workbook or journal should guide your clients from stranger to client to referral partner. So again, you don't need to do it all in one. You can have multiple journals, you can have multiple workbooks. But one of the things I find absolutely useful is having somewhere, and I'm a big fan of journals. My favorite journal is the 100-Day Goal Journal. This is from John Lee Dumas. I also am a big fan of the bullet journal. But here's the thing. I want to apply this to personal wellness and business wellness. Personal wellness, a really good journal can help you and your clients grow and understand their world better, but also a good workbook can guide people through. So we talked about the importance of a client onboarding journey. I'm a big fan, and I actually have my signature system. It's my black belt program. And what I realized was I don't want to work with somebody until they've completed certain basic things. And the number one thing, if I'm helping them with client getting strategies, is they need to know who their customer is, who their avatar is. So I have taken the liberty, I've created this little workbook, and I have exercises. You don't need to read it, but it is available. I'll put a link below. But the idea is really, really simple. What does somebody need to know before they work with me? So there's a journal or a workbook for that. Then as they're working for me, how do we track success? There's a journal or workbook for that. And then as I'm building them up to the level of fanatical raving fan, then there's a different journal or workbook. So one of the things I would say, any area of self-improvement, a journal is a really good tool to give your clients. And easy to do. You can self-publish it on Amazon. I work with a lot of mindset coaches, so I'm going to talk about that for a second. As a mindset coach, you could have a journal, and basically it's not about the data you give them, it's about the questions you give them so they can find the answers in themselves. That is where true transformation comes from, is from within. So what journaling prompts, what questions can we ask that get people to get to the point where they know they need help and they're willing to seek that help? So I like a really good journal because journals are easy to make. Think about the 20, 30, whatever questions that you would ask a potential client. And you can't necessarily always be in front of them to ask that question. But think about, what do they need to know every day? What do they need to know once a week? What do they need to know once a month? And create journaling prompts so that as they go through their journal, maybe they pick a page and they answer that question today, and then they flip to something randomly, or maybe you guide them on the journey. I believe that a really good workbook or journal, whatever you choose, and honestly, I'm not going to haggle over the differences. The way I see it, a workbook has exercises to be completed. A journal has blank pages with prompts. And the activity of writing is where the value comes in. So whatever industry you're in, whatever business you're in, what could you do? What questions could you ask? What exercises could you give so that your prospects, your clients can go through it and do that? And by the way, for those of you who are public speakers, if you have a standard or a signature talk that you do, I love to give a workbook, and all I do is I take the slides and I put a slide on each page, the image of the slide, and then I have blank lines beneath it so people can take notes. And then on the back of it, there's usually a question or two. One of my favorite questions is, how does this apply to me? What's my action item? What's my golden nugget? And basically, you can turn your talk into a workbook with very little effort. And I do that with now all of my signature pieces. I've taken it from, I've created my workshop or I've created my presentation, and then I create the workbook. And I do it really, really for one simple reason. It's impressive. This is one of my workshops that I do. It's just basically a half day workshop. But basically, I've taken all of the instructions and I've put in all of the exercises, and then I've left pages for people to take notes. So it's really easy to create a workbook or a journal and really truly, think about, I used to do a lot of presentations and I'd, go to the local office supply store and I'd print it off and get it bound. You get those little plastic coils, they're nice, but look at this actual book, nicer. So just having a good workbook or a journal, that I actually created my version of the bullet journal. So as you can see, I have a lot of books on my desk, and oddly, I wrote most of them. But one of my favorite things is if you're in any way, shape, or form helping somebody have a better life, whether it's earn more money, keep more money, um, you know, have better health, more wealth, whatever it is that you do, a journal or a workbook is a really good guide to help people move forward. So I hope that was useful. And we'll be doing some tutorials and we'll be sharing some content down the road on how to actually create those things. But one of my favorite things is, I create a lot of books, I'll call them, that look exactly like this. Most of the stuff is self filled in. So think about how you could guide your people with a workbook or a journal. And like I said, if you're in any way tied to speaking, if you've gotten to the point where you have to speak to get clients, I can't recommend enough having a journal or a workbook. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to our show. We hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we invite you to either click the link below or scan the QR code to register and listen to other episodes of our podcast. Or if you think your business or you would be a great guest to be on our show, we're always looking for experts in one of the 9 elements of holistic wellness. We'd love to have you. You can either click the link below or you can scan the QR code and complete our speaker intake form. Thank you, and to your wellness.